Tonight, my first guest of the evening, yes, we have guests again, is Marie Sembar,
Hi.
who was in the Writing Frenzy movie, who maybe a few of you have managed to see that so far, and hopefully sometime later this year the DVD will be out. Does that work to your advantage here in town? Have you been able to find some nice roles or anything that you've really enjoyed doing in the last 5 years?
I think the one advantage to being patient is after a period of time, people do recognize that you're serious and you have a lot of credits and you're not overshooting yourself and what you can do, and people take you seriously.
Yeah,
for sure.
perseverance is important. I know all about that.
Yeah.
That's determination. It's part of it.
Absolutely.
It's one of the biggest parts of it, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, talent's important too, but if you don't stick with something,
Right.
yeah.
Right. Phoenix and Arizona, Tucson, the market's been kind of tough, and again, it's a waiting game. And I think even if you're in California, there's a lot of patience that everyone has to have.
It's probably even more difficult there because everybody's hungry and trying for
Yeah.
something. While as here, there's people that are trying, but
Right.
it's a smaller group. And
Right.
I
Right.
think we can all benefit each other more here than being scattered.
Right. And I've noticed even in what I consider a short acting career, I have noticed that the mass of people that were acting in Tucson and Phoenix 5 years ago, there are definitely people that have stuck with it, and there are probably half of them you don't see at auditions or in projects. Their names are associated. You don't see them anymore, and I think it's because maybe they're just not patient, or maybe they just took the plunge and they went out to California and New York, and I hope the best for them. Definitely.
It could be they gave up, or like many others, they've jumped to a state that has a tax incentive.
Right.
We don't have one anymore, as we were talking about a few weeks ago on this program, and everybody jumps over to New Mexico or somewhere else.
I've heard a lot of people that have done that, and people that that even get agents over there, and then they just get called over whenever there's roles for them, and that's definitely a little bit more tempting than going to California.
Yeah.
Because again, the competition's not quite as tough, and there's probably less people, so it's more focused on commercial and certain films, and not just this mass of people and massive. I don't know. I think you get kind of lost trying to figure out what you enjoy doing the most when there's work coming at you from all different angles and all different genres.
Then you don't. What's the best opportunity?
Right.
What's the best
Right.
move?
And then you can't. I know that there's a lot of actors in Tucson that have definitely honed their skills with certain types of projects, and they've gotten so good at them that I think that if they went out to California and they focused on those types of projects, they would do really, really well.
What do you think is the most challenging aspect of filmmaking or acting?
In Tucson or just in general?
Just in general. It might pertain to Tucson as well because, hey, that's where we are, and that's a whole different challenge into itself. So
Yeah, I think I'm gonna answer that assuming that the challenges might be the same, since I haven't been out in California with big budget movies, so I'm not sure if the challenges would still be there. But continuity seems to be a huge issue.
It's one of those things that gets overlooked a lot.
It does. We were actually here in Access Tucson filming, and the project we filmed over, I don't know, a month. And there were so many actors, and the film was only encompassed like 3 or 4 days. So a lot of the days overlapped, even though they were weeks apart when we filmed it. And we all kind of started keeping notes, and I helped a lot trying to keep notes on the days that I was there of what other actors were wearing, and I took a lot of pictures so that we could really make sure that we stayed consistent with what everybody was wearing and how their hair was done, and if they had glasses on, or when they had taken off a tie in their scene. So that seems to be a huge challenge.
Yeah. It's something that you might not be aware of while you're shooting it.
Right.
But as soon as you start watching it back,
Right.
It's so glaringly obvious.
Right.
I think a lot of not even just up-and-coming filmmakers, but a lot of filmmakers in general are in such a passionate rush to get it done.
Right.
They just fly through it and think, well, I don't need storyboards or a shot list or a continuity
Right.
guy, or
Right.
I need one microphone, and we go. It's like, well, you can get so far with that,
Yeah.
but the more planning that you put into it, the less likely you're going to end up with problems like that. Like in one of my older movies, we had this shirt, and we called it the devil shirt because it kept showing up when it wasn't supposed to. It was this one shirt that had a black collar, and it's like, no, not the devil shirt again, because continuity, you know.
Right.
And it
Right.
doesn't match up. How can he walk outside and suddenly have a different shirt on?
Right.
Well, maybe they won't notice.
Right. It actually it has made me very aware of continuity whenever I watch TV shows, whenever I watch movies. There's actually a commercial that's on TV right now. I won't call them out on it, but it's so funny every time it comes on, and nobody else I've pointed it out to has noticed it, and of course I've noticed it. And every time the segment comes on, everyone else that I've mentioned it to does notice it.
Yeah, when you
but
point it out
something's
to 'em,
on
yeah.
like their right arm, and then later on in the same take, they're wearing the exact same clothes, the hair's done the same way, but it's on their left arm. And you would think that they would film that in one day,
Yeah.
but they don't, and they forget, small details that people might pick up on.
Somebody dropped the ball.
Right.
I've noticed that the more I get involved in filmmaking, the more I deconstruct stuff as I watch it, like you're talking
Right.
about. I can take it in and enjoy it on the same levels that everybody else does, but then I start thinking about how they made it, and that's when you start to catch little things like that.
Right.
So what do you found has been most challenging as an actor?
Honestly, and
Well, or you can just make something up.
no. I can be honest.
We're on TV after all.
No, I can be honest. I think the hardest thing, and I don't, and I try to give grace to other actors, and I've taken a seminar where they teach you to do that. But I think the hardest thing is when you're working with inexperienced actors and they don't say their lines right. And if there's one thing that I do is I make sure that I memorize the last line. That's the line to lead me into what I'm going to say.
Are you listening to this, people? This is important
If
stuff.
there's one thing that I memorize is their last line.
Because you got to give them their beat to go off
So
on.
I know when to start. And I don't care if they want to beat around the bush and say whatever. I'll react just the same, or react slightly different based on what they have to say. But if they don't give me that one last line, I don't know if they're going to continue to ramble or if it's my turn to talk. So
exactly.
That's difficult.
I know you were telling me about the project that's getting ready to get made. Was there anything else that you completed recently that we should be on the lookout for, or anything you want to hype or plug, I should say?
It was a short film that I did that was at the film festival. Whenever you asked me to be on your show, It was at the the Phoenix International Film Festival, and it was just the Arizona shorts. I was really excited that the film was there, along with the release of other major projects, and that was really exciting. I don't believe there was even any prizes for the shorts
It's
category.
a non-competitive one.
Yeah, but it was just really entertaining to see all the other talent and all the other producers, directors.
And it got accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody else that was working so hard, and they did a great job. It was really nice to see all the other projects and other people's thoughts, and it's kind of sad. Like some of these short films, they're they're great ideas, and you would almost like to see them as
a full-length movie.
Yeah, and I think the biggest hurdle is coming up with an idea that doesn't have so much cost associated with it, because locations are expensive, and so whenever they come up with a great idea that doesn't need all that extra CGI or somebody falling from a plane or something like that, or you don't have to go to the Caribbean, whenever they've actually thought of a project that they can actually do within a budget and it not affect the final results,
that's really the trick, isn't it?
And it is. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably easier to get a short film into a film festival than it is a feature length.
That was my reasoning.
Right.
I don't really have any proof, but it just seems logical.
Well, I've done quite a few feature length films, and I've done a couple student films and then just a couple other shorts. And one of those shorts made it into the film festival before any of these other projects have made it you know, they're working on them. Yeah, I
Mhm.
speak with the director or producers, and they're still working on them. They're actively pursuing
Yeah.
avenues where the project would be suited. But this short was done less than a year ago, and it was
Mhm.
went to a film festival, and now they're working on their next
It
one.
served its purpose and you
Right.
moved on. Yeah.
Right.